Welcome to our podcast, Parenting by the Pint. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, Minivan Mafia. Lauren and I are longtime friends from Chicagoland that love getting together to chat about life, kids, family, and beer.
Each week, we'll feature a brewery and sample at least 2 of their beers.
We'll also discuss a variety of topics ranging from parenting, pop culture, travel, marriage, and just about anything else that comes to mind. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing today, Lauren?
I'm doing okay, pretty good. It's a Monday. I do feel like I have a bit of a case of the Mondays today.
It's a Monday.
Yes.
Like it's kind of a Mondayest Monday,
right?
Sort of Monday.
Yeah. That's how I'm feeling today. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to some beer and some conversation and to wind down from the long day. So that's how I'm doing.
Definitely feeling that. And I think that beer is definitely going to help both of us get where we need to go
yes.
to cap off the Mondayest Monday we've both had in a while.
Yes. Sounds excellent. Good plan. What are we drinking?
Great. We are going to drink 2 beers from Modern Methods Brewing Company, which is from Warren, Ohio, and it's been a while, but is from my husband's little road trip to pick up our car earlier in the summer.
Road trip beer.
It's a road trip beer.
Woohoo.
It's a road trip brewery, and
All
we
right.
are going to start with an alt beer called Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate.
I like it.
With
I like
an A.
it. Fantastic. I don't think I'd heard of Modern Methods before our little conversation here.
Yeah, I
yeah.
got the name of the brewery wrong like several times in conversations with you before tonight,
God,
and
like, Modern who?
you kept being like, "Really, in Ohio?" I keep looking them up and I'm not finding one. And then I think you said that you thought maybe they had like a distributor, and I don't know. You were like reaching a little bit, trying to make sure I was right, and you were coming to the conclusion that I wasn't, but not saying it because you're too kind. And eventually, I was just like, oh yeah. So I went out into my garage and I actually looked at the beer, and it is Modern Methods, and then we decided, okay, so that makes sense.
Yes, and that is what we are going
And
to
here
drink.
we are,
So
yeah,
here we are drinking the Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. Let's crack this baby open, shall we?
I
don't
like
think
it.
we've had an alt beer, maybe.
I don't know if we
ever?
ever have had an alt beer. I'm excited.
Wow.
It's like an old German style, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. Ooh, look at that color.
I know, it's such a beautiful beer.
Wow.
Alt beers are like a kind of a golden, coppery color.
Yeah.
Got a nice fluffy head on it.
It's a beautiful color. I really like this. All right.
Smells German.
It
Doesn't
does
it?
smell German.
It smells German.
So, all right, let's give this a taste. I don't think we've had one of these before.
Right?
Not on the podcast.
No.
I'm trying. I mean, we've done a lot of beers, but I don't
know.
think we've done an alt beer. I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yeah,
It's
very
malty.
Malty. We were literally about to say exactly the same word, you guys. Malty. It is. It's very malty. I used to love really malty stuff.
Really?
I used to really like
It's a good
oh my goodness,
amber
it's escaping.
color. It's like it's like that ambery color almost.
Yeah. I said copper. It's actually probably a bit darker than a copper. You're right.
I like it. Oh, this is good. This
Tastes
is a
good.
nice change. This is perfect to start fall. Like this is the
This is a
perfect
fall beer.
I kind
This
of
is
love
great.
it. Wasn't even
How
thinking that.
perfectly timed.
It
It's so
really-
great that
it
we
really
dragged our
was.
feet and didn't
It
drink
really-
this sooner.
Right? This is the perfect timing.
Well done.
Yeah. So Modern Methods. Warren, Ohio. Started by a husband and wife team, but before they opened in, let's see, I think they opened a while ago, but so of course started from home brewing, everybody else.
Did
So-
she buy him a homebrew kit, or did
no,
he buy her one?
No. So it was Adam is the husband. Obviously Sarah
Adam
is
does
not the husband,
sound
but
like a husband name.
so Adam and his brothers actually, or his brother, had bought their dad a homebrew kit back in December of 2010, and finally by like the following November of the following year, finally convinced their dad that they were going to brew together.
That's so funny. I was thinking when you started introducing that story where you're like, oh, they bought it as a gift for their dad. Mm-hmm. In my head, I was like, I could totally see giving my dad a gift like that and him just being like, oh wow.
Thanks.
Yeah, and
so
just like putting it in a
pretty
closet.
much it sounds what happened. About a year later, they convinced him they should brew some beer together, and they brewed a handful of batches, and by 2013, they had like a 15-gallon, 3-kettle brewery system going on in their garage, and they called it Keck & Sons Brewing as a hobby. So it sounds like only Adam was really the only one that stuck with it. But in 2013, he totally changed gears and took an IT job at a manufacturing company.
Okay.
But over those years, he still had the idea that he wants to open a brewery, and got his wife on board, or I don't know if it was fiance at the time, but they wound up signing a lease for where they're at in 2016 and opened the brewery in 2018. They wanted to be the first brewery to open in Warren in over 100 years. 1880 was the last time there was a brewery open in that town.
Wow.
But one other brewery opened right before they did, like a couple of months before, called Clubhouse Brewing, or Brewery Co. In 2018 there were 2 that actually opened, but prior to that, 1880 was the last time there was a brewery.
It's a long time.
In Warren, Ohio.
Do you know? Is it like a law thing, or is it
No,
just coincidence?
I think it's just coincidence. So
it's usually laws.
Yeah, no, like when we were talking about the one in South
Carolina?
Carolina, that one was like totally the laws. This one, I don't think so. But so Modern Methods, I was wondering why the name. So it's a nod to actually the city of Warren. So in 1909, their slogan was Warren, City of Modern Methods.
Oh.
So that's where Modern Methods, the name, kind of comes from.
I was just talking to a customer today about little slogans that cities have.
Oh yeah,
And
you
it's
don't
like,
know them half the time.
It's like I should have created the list. I didn't realize that was going to be relevant to this, which is 100% because I don't plan anything, which is ironic.
Usually wing it by the seat of
because we're
our
going to
pants.
talk more about that.
True.
But yeah, they always have like cute little phrases,
Uh-huh.
or sometimes they're things that you're just like, really, that was the best you could come up with. Like some of them are just like a nice place to live, or
the Friendly Village.
the Friendly Village, which is where
we
Lauren
grew
and I are
up,
from.
yes, which is
We're
totally
the
not,
Friendly
yeah.
Village, or like Alsip, that big flea market place.
Yes. I think that's what, I don't know what their official slogan is, but that's exactly what everyone
If
thinks
you've
of it.
Ever driven into the Chicagoland area from Indiana, Michigan,
Yeah, anywhere east.
anywhere east,
pretty much, yeah.
you're going to run across Alsip, Illinois, and the flea market.
Yeah.
It's right there off the highway.
Swaparama.
The Swaparama.
Yep. You'll see the giant sign. Yeah, no, and we were from the Friendly Village. But yeah, so Warren, Ohio was the city of Modern Methods. Hence,
Modern Methods.
So a couple other fun facts before we dive into more beer and more other things. In February 2021, they actually became the first brewery in Ohio to have the first African-American woman professional brewer in the entire state of Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah, they participated in Black is Beautiful.
Wonderful.
So Hannah was her name. She actually started not home brewing, but making wine and cider at home.
Okay.
And then she said that moving into beer is more science and math related than
I could see that.
beer or wine and cider. So
That was my dad. My dad did wine.
wine.
And I think wine
Yeah.
is pretty straightforward. You just
Yeah.
kind of throw a couple of things in like a
and
plastic
let it do
container
its business
and it's done.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hannah's the first African-American woman professional brewer in the whole state of Ohio. So go
Nice.
her. As
Kudos.
of this year. And last fun fact. So Modern Methods is located on Dave Grohl Alley.
I saw the address on the can.
Dave Grohl was born in Warren, Ohio in 1969.
Oh, man.
And the brewery is located right beyond the set of the world's largest drumsticks, which are in that alley.
Man, I can't believe. Did my husband stop at this place? Because if he
I
didn't,
hope
that is
so.
inexcusable. if he
Right? There's
didn't.
this big mural on the side of the wall that says David Grohl Alley in giant, the world's largest drumsticks. Like, I feel like you have to.
man.
Like,
That's so cool.
yeah,
What an awesome fun
right?
fact.
Yeah, so I was pretty excited. I was like, why? I noticed too. I'm like, why is it on Dave Grohl Alley? So then I looked it up, and I'm like, Dave Grohl was born in Warren, Ohio. Who knew? You'd think he was like
I
a
have no
California
idea.
boy, or something Pacific, but no, Warren, Ohio, and yeah, world's largest drumsticks. So
I love it.
Yeah,
That's
big
awesome.
fan. So if we ever make it to Warren, Ohio, I'm definitely visiting the world's largest drumsticks.
Yeah.
Just to add
That
it to the
sounds
list.
really cool.
Right? Yeah, big fan. So, fun facts about modern methods, and I really like this Ultimate Warrior.
I also do. So that's a win for them so far. And, and I think we'll be pleased with our second beer because it's like our weakness in the terms
Yeah,
of beer.
for sure.
We'll
Yeah.
get there, you guys.
We'll get
You'll
there.
know
We'll
it
get
when
there.
you hear about it.
So, all right, a little bit about the brewery, and now let's talk about
Study habits and learning.
Yes, yes.
And all of that.
We
all
are
of what
all,
comes to that.
yeah, we're all deep into this now. School is,
It's
a
kinda
couple
real
months
again.
in, and we're back, and, your son is older, but my twins are, homework every night
Getting into the
and
groove of
tests
that.
every week and reading and everything, there's things that they have to study for, there's work they have to do, and yeah, we're like really
In the thick of
starting
it.
it now.
Yeah.
So
At the beginning of this school year, it was probably about a week or so in, and I got a call from my 10-year-old's teacher. So he's a fifth grader now.
Yep.
And I get a call from him, and he goes, "Hey, your son hasn't really been turning in homework consistently. We've had, I think he said about 8 assignments. So maybe it was like 2 weeks into school, because
Okay.
8
Yeah.
seems like a lot for a weekend.
True.
But we've had about 8 assignments, and he's only turned in 4 of them.
Oh.
And I was just like,
that's half, so
it's
not
like
good.
a low percentage.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just like, what? And then I went, oh, right. Homework. I forgot about homework. We do that now. And it was just like this realization that we were getting back into real actual
Yeah.
school, because in the spring, before or after they actually physically went into the building for
Yeah.
school, they didn't come home with homework.
No, my kids didn't really either.
And I don't know if that had to do with them not wanting to give them like paper
Right.
products
to
and
go
things
back
like
and forth,
that.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know that my younger child's teacher at one point was like, I have to put a folder in your kids' backpacks for stuff that they need to bring home. Is that cool with you that I'm going to
jeez.
like? And I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't, what do you want? Yeah, it's fine.
Yes.
I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah.
Put a folder in the bag.
Yeah, you're good.
But,
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
now
just,
we're
like-
actually back to somewhat reality.
I know.
of
I just like
tests and
completely lost
homework.
track of the idea that there would be homework. And now that he's a fifth grader, there's like kind of real homework.
Yeah, I'm sure
sometimes.
yours is significantly different. Like second graders, not so much.
It's like
I
a little
mean,
math sheet here.
Yeah,
and there and stuff.
they use Eureka math. Our school
I know
does,
that. Yeah, we
so,
do Eureka math too.
But so they have math homework every night, and they have reading homework every night, and then they're supposed to study either their vocabulary words. Like there's a whole list. There's a homework log of what they're supposed to do every day.
That sounds like so much work.
Yeah, which is great that they're organized about it. And we split up the twins, so they're in 2 different classes, but they use the same. They're on a team, so
Oh,
like they
okay.
do the same homework, they read the same things, they
Okay.
do the same lessons.
that's good.
Thankfully, which is great because my boy always forgets his freaking folder at school. So I can't even tell you how many times.
You had to copy your daughter's
Yes.
homework?
And I said the next time you do this, you're getting a 0. I don't even care. Like your only job right now is school.
Yeah.
Like and chores,
Yeah.
but like the majority of your day is school. This is your job.
yeah.
So
You're doing a bad job at
You
your
literally, this is all I'm asking of you. You need to remember
Yeah.
to bring your folder home and do your homework. I'm like, if you weren't a twin, you wouldn't have your homework.
Well, and I can tell you that my son, my 5th grade son, once we kind of got back into like, okay, we need to pay attention to these things, he was doing much better about
Okay.
bringing his work home and everything.
Yeah.
And we actually just had the first time he forgot it
okay.
was today.
Oh, ironic.
And
yeah.
I was driving my kids home from soccer practice, and I said, does anybody have homework?
Yeah.
Because we have, I don't know, about 2 hours before bedtime
Yeah.
here, and we need to do the homework. And we hadn't done it directly after school because we kind of rushed through having dinner and then went to soccer practice.
Yeah.
So I was like, we got to get the homework knocked out before we can
Yeah.
relax and hang
Do
out and
anything else,
enjoy
yeah.
the rest of the evening before bed. And my younger son said, I had a pre-test today, so I don't have a math assignment to
Okay.
work on. And my older son said, and he put his head down and he says really quietly, he was just like, I forgot my math at school. And I was just like, what? And he was like, I forgot it. And I was like, okay, man, well, we're trying to like do a better job
Yep.
of staying on task. And so when you go to school tomorrow, you're going to say to your teacher, I forgot my homework at school. I would really like you to give me an opportunity to make it up by doing it in addition to whatever math homework I have tonight
Yep.
so that I can catch up.
Yep. So,
And
yeah.
if you take responsibility for missing it, I
Maybe-
will be satisfied.
Yes. Whatever happens, at least. Yeah.
I don't know what your teacher's going to
Sure.
say. He may just be like, nope, it's too late.
Yep. Which is totally possible.
Yep.
Who knows? But
Yep.
yeah, our son, I think he is preoccupied with everything going around him at school at the end of the day
Yeah.
and is not paying attention. So
I can definitely say that's what's happening to my 10-year-old.
So, but we had a nice long talk about this. He's going to start getting zeros on his grades, and that's just, that's just the way
You
it
gotta
is.
learn that lesson, right?
So we shall see.
the
but
value of homework.
yeah. It's weird with second graders to explain like why grades are important because
I can tell you that is an abstract concept.
right?
I
Yeah.
had to talk to my 10-year-old the other day about why it is important for him to give 100%. And I was just like, I literally emailed his teacher because it was something he had talked to me about, that he felt like he could put forth more effort.
Sure.
And I was like, can you just tell me exactly how I'm supposed to explain to my
Right,
10-year-old
yeah.
why
this is
getting
important?
good grades means getting into a good college and getting a good job, because he's 10.
And he doesn't care about
And
any of that yet.
the lesson is developing good habits will make you a more responsible adult, regardless of where you go
Yes.
from here. Because
Yes. True,
maybe
true.
you don't go to college,
Yeah.
or maybe you do, and you're studying something
knows? We have
completely
no idea.
unrelated to
Yeah.
whatever you're struggling with, because you'd never liked that subject or
Yeah.
whatever. But that doesn't mean it's not valuable today.
Yeah, no, that's
So I'm like, can you just tell me what I'm supposed to tell
What am I
him
supposed to say here?
to like motivate him?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, how do I instill the importance of this into my children? But anyway, so we're there. Our usual habit is homework as soon as they get home from
Yeah.
school. Now
We do too, generally.
Today they had a young Rembrandt's art class or something after school. So
Okay.
like they stay on Mondays for the next 6 weeks or something after school to take this art class.
Okay.
Because they don't have real art in school. So if you want to do art, it's like after school, or
Right.
volunteers sometimes come in. But apparently there's no art in our school district.
Really?
No, not formal. At least not in the
They
under.
don't have like a staff art teacher that they meet with like once or twice a week or whatever?
Not in their school. They have library, music they do regularly, but art is not a special for them.
Our kids had art for last fall, the first semester, remote.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so our teacher would like push into the Zoom meeting once a week
Sure.
and would do like a little art lesson.
Sure.
And I realized two things during that period. One of them was, at one point I was sitting in my then first grader's bedroom, kind of listening to the lesson.
Yeah.
He used to really want me to like sit there with him when
Okay.
he was e-learning, which was absolute torture.
Yeah, I was say painful. Very painful.
Really painful, because I'm already home from work, so I'm a little upset.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here, and there's
Listening
like
to the
literally
first
nothing I
grade?
can do. I can look at my phone.
but
I
really,
mean,
yeah.
Let's be honest. you do run out of stuff to look
yeah,
at.
and
on
that's
your
not
phone.
that no longer is entertaining.
You can only
at
buy
times.
so many things on Amazon
Right.
before you start having to pay for them, and that's
Unfortunately.
dangerous. So I'm sitting there, and he's actually doing like some sort of like memory matching game with them.
Oh, okay.
And it was actually pretty cool,
Okay, yeah.
and he was doing a really great job. And at one point, a kid like raised his hand and was like, "I have a question," and he was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he goes, "I hate this."
Oh.
And the teacher, I was just like, whoa, dude.
It's not actually
that's
a question,
not nice.
but yeah.
And the teacher did not appreciate that. He was just like, first of all, that is a terrible thing to say.
Yeah.
I do not accept that word in my class. You are
Okay,
never to say
fair.
that word again in my class. And he was like, and second of all, that is not acceptable. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a question that's not relevant.
Nope.
If you're not enjoying
If you don't
yourself,
feel like this, that's unfortunate.
finish
but
it
too
up
bad.
and move on.
Yep.
But my kids, the second thing that I realized during remote
Yes.
art, is that my older son, while he does very much enjoy drawing and creative
Yeah.
elements and things like that, had zero patience for working on an art project while in a Zoom lecture.
Which I totally can see. Like that's yeah.
And,
I
like,
could definitely.
I
Art is
would-
not Zoom,
yeah.
very Zoom
I
friendly.
would get like seesaw messages from the art teacher, and it would be like, your son's assignment looked like he did it in 5 minutes when he should have spent more time on it. And I find it on the floor in his room,
And
and it's
he
just like a squiggly line
Did
on a piece
do
of
it in
paper
5
in pencil.
minutes. Yeah. So.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yep. Yep.
So I had to start like
Uh,
checking his assignments and trying to get him to work on the art.
whatever art project it was. Yeah.
And we did like a handful, and then
Yeah.
after that, I just was like,
Yeah.
I don't
give
know
up
if you're
on
still
this,
assigning
dude.
art assignments, but
We're not.
you're
not
just gonna have to.
spending energy
He's
on
just gonna
this.
have to fail art, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we don't. My kids, at least fourth grade and under, don't have art class. The only time they get art appreciation is from volunteer PTO moms that come in and
Wow.
like teach an art lesson and do an art project.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
there's no
I will say,
art class.
I look forward to my kids having art in the spring, which is when they have it. They're doing
Oh, okay.
music now, so they do one term and one the
Gotcha.
other term. But
Yeah.
I really liked the art teacher. He was really good, really nice dude.
That's cool. Yeah.
Just, could you imagine teaching second graders art over Zoom?
No,
I mean,
that
like,
sounds horrible.
Sometimes I
Like,
think about
actually
some of the
horrible.
like peripheral, like
Yeah.
subjects, the specials, like you call them.
That's what they call them. Yeah.
When we call them
Yep.
that too.
Mhm.
Like, I just can't even imagine like.
Music
How
too
you-
was the other one that's like.
Yeah.
Really? Like.
So cool thing about music is
Mm-hmm.
that apparently in 4th grade they did the recorder.
Oh.
which is my son was in
so
4th grade.
you missed
No,
that.
no.
Oh no.
They sent him home with a recorder one day, and then he broke his arm.
Oh yeah.
And I emailed the music teacher, and I was just like, so good news and bad news.
Yeah.
My son's arm is broken. He can't play the recorder. And she was just like, what's the good news? And I was like, no, it's in there.
Oh yeah.
I think I said good news
Yeah.
and bad news. And I think I said 2 things. The
Yeah.
bad news is he broke his
No,
arm. The good news is he can't play the recorder. And I sent her a picture of him, and he's got the whole, because
Yes,
his whole arm
yeah,
is
he did,
casted.
yeah.
And he's got the recorder.
Trying
and the
one
bottom
hand,
arm
yeah.
is just like
all the
he
way
can't
down.
reach
He can't reach it.
the holes.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
That's fantastic.
We never took it out of the case.
Oh.
It's been forgotten about.
Fantastic.
I just couldn't be happier with
Yeah,
that. That was
I'm
like
not
one of
looking
the best
forward to that.
byproducts of
Of the
Of the
breaking
broken
of the
arm.
Yeah. We last year for Zoom, we're totally getting off track, but whatever. After this, we'll move back.
yeah.
Last year, because they were all on Zoom for a good chunk of the year, we had to go and buy things to simulate music class.
Yes,
So like we
right?
had to buy like sandpaper to like make like noises, and then like some sort of maraca type thing, which my kids just picked out packages of Tic Tacs, and they're
Oh,
like, "This will
that's-
work," and I was like. Sure,
awesome. Tic
that's
Tacs are
great,
perfect.
right? I was like, okay, and
Plus,
then,
we can eat them when this is
yeah,
over.
then I'm like, when we're done, I'm just gonna eat the Tic Tacs.
those
And
are
then
coming
like
with me.
some stick things that were supposed to be drumsticks, but so they like had to imitates
That's
trying
awesome.
to make music.
I mean, I have to credit these teachers for really getting the creative juices
Yep.
flowing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
a
is
lot
true.
of the lessons that I observed, which was a lot, more than I would have liked,
Yes, more than
were pretty engaging.
Yeah.
Considering, and
Our kids are young. You got
geez,
to.
I
Otherwise, you are going to lose everybody. So.
Well, and I felt like that was actually something my fourth grader had a lot harder time with, because there were a lot of times where he was supposed to be studying and understanding concepts that were very complicated
yeah.
to learn about on a computer screen.
Remotely are very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kids, my oldest obviously is autistic, so he really is learning at I don't know, first grade level, maybe at that. I think he has a good memory, so he memorizes words more than he can sound things out.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, they are teaching him tools more than they're teaching him concepts. They're not teaching him math, but they're teaching him how to use a calculator.
Okay.
Because if he carries a calculator, he doesn't really need to know math.
Yeah, sure.
For someone who has special needs, who's never going to probably be completely independent, who's, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm
He's not going to be in a
I'm good
lab
with that.
doing calculations.
No. If anything, he's going to be a bagger at Jewel, or something like that. And
yeah.
which is fine. Whatever. Everybody has their lane in life. But
I like that. Their lane in life.
Right?
I like that.
But yeah, so we haven't had to do a lot of these learning things because he doesn't
He's
do
the older
them.
child that you
so
have,
now
right.
we've got 2 second graders, and I can't teach my daughter math to save my life.
Oh, yeah. You've mentioned that
At
before.
all. Literally at all. So we do homework right when we get home, because partially it's okay, maybe you remember some of this from being in school,
Right,
and you can
then
just
we're gonna
carry
apply
on,
it right
and
now.
I cannot teach you as much. And so we try and do it right away. And even still, my twin boy is stupid smart. He just doesn't need our help with anything, and just done and moves on. His problem is he doesn't remember it to bring it home from school.
Right.
As long as it gets home, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's gotten 100s on every assignment he's done all year long with every test. He's nothing. So I'm not worried
Right.
about him. I'm worried about him bringing things home.
That's my 10-year-old.
Yes.
My 10-year-old is also stupid
Yeah.
smart. But his problem is that now that he's older, and I guess look out for this with him, is that he's expected to be a lot more independent and to decide for himself how to spend free time at school, which isn't really free time.
Right, you're supposed to be doing something academic.
Right.
But, yeah.
So as a result, because he's I get this.
He's
I
gonna
don't
be
need
done.
to. I'm
Yep.
just going to socialize. And 2 things are happening. One, he's interacting with kids who might not get it. So he's
Yes.
kind of putting them even further behind and distracting them. And 2, he could move even further and preventing himself from doing that because he's not utilizing the independent work time the way he could.
I'm sure that that's how my son's going to be. Even today, they were talking about they were supposed to be reading in their book. And he was reading it, but then his buddy who sits behind him was timing how fast he could read the story. And I'm and I know his friend needs help with reading.
Yeah.
So I'm no, the point is to read quietly by yourself. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Everyone is supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Not playing, not competing, literally just read.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm sure that that's going to be the case. Now my daughter, I would say, is probably very average. The unfortunate thing is in our heads, I compare the 2, and I know it's harsh. I shouldn't, but I think my son is, and his standardized tests last year were high, and she's pretty average, but I just can't, she struggles when she gets worked up that she just can't do anything.
Yeah.
So if she doesn't get it and gets frustrated, it's her brain just shuts off. Completely.
And my 7-year-old is a little bit like that. I think he has, and your daughter, I'm sure, is the same way, has areas where he is doing very, very well,
for sure.
excels quite a bit. But then the areas where he isn't instantly great at it, he will battle. And I was going to bring this up. When he left kindergarten, and it was cut short for him, he had not grasped reading.
Yeah.
On even kind of a basic level. I mean, he could read a little,
Sure.
but he definitely didn't have the confidence.
Okay.
And didn't have the complete skills to kind of move himself forward with practice.
Sure.
He needed more than that. It wasn't just, I need to practice this now.
Yeah.
It was, I need a little more guidance. And unfortunately, my husband and I, it's just not, so I don't know how to teach a kid how to read.
I don't either. That is not my forte at all. Yeah.
And it was brutal. And even to this day, a year and a half later, he does not enjoy reading. He will do it, and I've been told by his teachers he's actually the top reader in the class. Which I don't know what that says, though.
Yeah, I have
no idea.
right?
Because
in second grade,
keeping in mind,
who even
though,
knows?
all of these second graders had the same experience that he did.
True.
And just keeping it even in our district, because they didn't go back to school in the fall after missing some of kindergarten. They had even more time where they weren't really getting one-on-one or face-to-face instruction.
And that's huge when it comes to reading. Yeah.
So he his appreciation for reading is almost non-existent. And I hope that one day that will change. And we talk a lot more, because my older son is starting to have to be a bit more independent in school and even outside of school. Even when we're at home, I kind of rely on him to kind of keep yourself occupied once in a while and don't just watch YouTube, like do something else. And he will sit down with a book and he'll sit in his room. And there are a lot of occasions, though, where little brother knocks on the door and is like, let's play pretend downstairs. And big brother is like, I'm kind of in the middle of this book. Little brother will start getting upset. And so we've been trying to encourage the 7-year-old to, you need to find some independent activities. If it's not reading, make it something.
It's got to be something.
Draw a picture, play with Legos, do a workbook.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, play pretend on your own.
Yes.
Come get me if you want.
You need to have some independent. I will say that the twins both they're very good at doing things independently.
That's great.
They wanted to go to the library, so we went to the library yesterday actually, and they picked out their own books and they brought them home and they went to their separate little corners. I think my son went up to his room and my daughter went to her little chair, and they just read their books by themselves quietly. Which is
That's
great. They had a mystery Doug last week, and it was, what's it like to be a twin? And so they got to both go into each other's classrooms.
Nice.
Since they're not in the same classroom. And my son was like, it's kind of annoying sometimes. Sometimes I just want to be by myself.
Oh, that's so funny. I have a feeling that's what my 10-year-old would say, and he's not a twin.
Yeah, that's when I have a sibling. And my daughter was like, it's nice to have somebody to play with. Which I think they both are it's cool to be a twin, but they're both kind of sometimes it's nice to just be by myself. So now they're insisting on separating rooms finally. So
I
we're gonna have to.
Wondering if that's where this was going.
Yeah, so we have to do that sometime.
Holy
in
moly!
the near future, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just a hassle.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that dynamic is really common with twins. I'm sure you know because you have far more experience. But even my younger child has a set of twins in his grade, and same deal. They are separated in school. And when they started kindergarten, one was in my son's class and one was in the other class. Yeah. And the one that was in my son's class really struggled with being away from their twin.
Okay.
Not the case for the other one.
Yeah.
And my son kind of took this little boy kind of as his friend and under his, and he had met him a couple of times because they had an older sibling that was closer to my older son's age. Not the same age, but they knew each other because they live in our neighborhood.
Gotcha.
And so as a result, he kind of connected with this little boy and kind of made the transition a little easier, I think, for him, which was really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was funny to me to find out from the parent that one twin
how different
transitioned
they were. Yeah.
Alone without too much trouble, and the other one really kind of struggled with it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I think mine were both pretty fine, actually. They're so very different personality-wise that they were totally fine being separate. But yeah, so if I give my kids the opportunity, they will procrastinate until the last possible second to do all of their homework, any of their studying for tests, anything like that, which is exactly what I was like.
I know,
when
right?
I was a kid.
Going to say, let's talk about our own study habits.
When I was talking to my husband about this earlier, just briefly, and he's like, well, I he said, he's like, I waited till the last possible second to do everything. And I'm like, me too. Like, I still do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to work and I'm like, I have a deadline, and in my head, I'm like, I should do this ahead of time. And I don't.
And you're just kind of like,
I'm just like,
it's
but
not till next
how
week.
close can I get to getting this done
And still get it done.
and still get it done? And that's pretty much where my drop dead date is like, when is the last possible time that I can do
start
this?
this, right?
And that's what I generally do. And that's what I've always done.
Yeah.
Like, I was, knock on wood, lucky that I was good at school, because I waited until literally the last minute to do everything.
Well, and it's funny that you put it that way, because like this is a subject my husband and I have been talking about a lot with our older son, because he's very successful in school in a lot of ways, but does wait till the last second and does kind of only take as long as is necessary to do things and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not a good habit. Don't get me
No,
wrong. But
my husband was like that. He talked about it at length with me the other day when we were kind of discussing our son, and said that, especially elementary school and middle school and high school, for the most part, seemed pretty easy. Yeah. And so it wasn't really necessary to try all that hard. I had a different experience. I mean, I don't think that I was felt overly challenged or really struggled all that much most of my early education. But I did have a lot of occasions where I felt like I had to kind of put in some extra effort to really get over the hump of getting this concept or doing better on this test or getting A's, which is what I was aiming for at the time. I feel like for the most part, I had pretty good study habits. Even, in college, I didn't really do that. Like, I was a political science major, so a lot of my work was like essays and papers and research and things like that. And I never really was like running in the door at the last second to turn something in. And I didn't do the I'll write it the night before thing.
Yeah, I totally still
Yeah,
do.
no, I totally get it. I totally get it. And like everybody I know is like that.
These horrible habits. It's not good. I don't want to instill it in my children, but I
never pulled all-nighters. And I think in a lot of ways, that helped me in law school, because you can't do it in law school. You can't. Yeah. The people who wait till the last minute to do things in law school get kicked out. Yeah, they don't make it. Yeah. No, you don't last. Yeah. And so it did help me kind of try and stay on top of things organizationally in law school, because I had already sort of been like, okay,
you
so
had
I have to write this
better habits already.
Yeah, I have to write this 5-page paper about this subject, or in law school it would usually just be like a couple pages on
about
a case or analyzing something or arguing a different point or whatever it was, and using citations. Yep. And I would do relatively well on that stuff because I would spend some time on it. Yeah. But I think that in some ways it was because early on I had to kind of try a little harder.
I think that's good though. Like habits, you have to start early to really have them stick. Like, and I am very lucky that I managed to get as far as I did having very poor habits. Like, I
think that's the concern you have.
Yes,
like, an individual would have with their kids is that. Yeah, maybe it's okay for my 10-year-old to kind of wing it once in a while, but someday it could catch up to him.
Yeah, and
my husband talks a lot about that. He's like, when I got to college, there were moments where things got away from me. Yeah. There were moments where it caught up to me. Yeah. Where I needed to put forth this level of effort, and I didn't have the desire or the time to do it.
Didn't turn out
and just didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think that as a result, because we have a little bit of experience with it, and as I said, I have a lot of friends who kind of have handled themselves in a similar way. And we had friends in college. And I did have friends in law school that handled themselves that way at times and paid for it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It doesn't. Most of the time, it does not end well. I mean, and there was one class in college that I didn't do anything for, and I had to drop because I literally just didn't even realize there was a midterm. And just was like, all right, well, I'm dropping this. I didn't need it. It was like some elective whatever, but still I was like, okay, well, I clearly need to get my shit together because I
Right?
can't do this for
Can't
any
drop
other
every class.
actual class that I
Yeah.
need. It was like Middle Eastern Studies or some crap that I didn't care about. But only because I didn't need it. Like, I was an accounting
Yeah, yeah,
major.
yeah.
Like, this had nothing to do with any of my
But
actual...
you reached a point where you realized I can't prioritize this even enough to pass this class.
Right. So clearly I need to make sure of that. But that was like, sophomore year of college by that point. Like, I needed to start making better habits way earlier than
Yeah.
that. And I definitely, me and my husband both did not have great study habits throughout our schooling. And we definitely need to instill better habits and make sure that our kids are on top of things. And that's why it's like, this is your job. Like, you need to be able to be organized. You need to come up with a system every day. At the end of the day, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Like, you're 7. If you start now, at least maybe you can start having better habits as you go through life. Like,
Well, and it just leads into that whole conversation about responsibility.
yeah.
If you can be a responsible student,
Yeah.
you can be a responsible adult.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, that's the crux of the issue.
Yeah, this is your job now. So if you can do this well, you just put that into...
Yeah, imagine all of the things you can do well
Yes.
outside of this.
Yes. I
Maybe even things you enjoy.
Yeah. I don't actually particularly enjoy what I went to school for, but it got me a job.
Well,
so it's
I mean,
fine.
I studied political science and went to law school, and I make signs for a living. So I'm not really doing what I studied, although I do occasionally help my dad lease property.
Okay.
So I do read leases
So
and
some
revise them.
contracts,
So I do
type
a little
law,
bit of
whatnot.
contract real estate stuff
Okay.
in an unofficial capacity.
Fair. Yeah. I studied for the CPA exam. So when I took it, because I'm old, it was still in pencil and bubbles, and now it's on computers.
I love that. I
So-
miss those days.
Right? Like,
Not
now
really.
you
Oh my
actually
God.
do, like...
Can we have a conversation about why I have to vote that way? Why do I have
That's
to co-
totally true. If
they
you
give
can
you a
do
pen.
everything else on the planet electronically...
I think they're really worried about fraud and I mean it's like
fair.
this, it's like one side of the coin versus the other. So like
Yeah.
convenient, like wouldn't it be amazing if they just emailed you a link and you could vote online? But then on the other
But then
hand,
who's going to get that link? How do you prove it that's yours? I
I mean, I
get it.
can't even
get
get my
it.
freaking iPhone delivered
True,
because
right?
apparently they
You
can't
have to
trust the
physically
UPS
be
store
here.
to hold it for me.
Oh my
And they want me to
gosh.
vote. I mean, like, so I have to assume that that's why I have to color in a bubble, and I can't just push a button.
Yeah.
Because we could hack the machine with the buttons.
Fair. Yeah.
Why are people so untrustworthy?
Right? That's
That's a totally different
totally
podcast
different topic.
episode.
Well, we should talk about trust.
Trust
and
is
lying.
big. Yeah, let's talk about that.
But yeah, so back in the day when I took the CPA exam, I studied for a week, took a section, studied for a week, took a section, studied for a week, took a section. It was 4
Nice.
sections. And that's how I took it. And then I
Bomb,
was done.
Lauren. You're a
And I
rock star.
passed, and I'm never doing it again.
Well,
All right,
let's pray that you
cheers
don't
to
have
that.
to. Yeah. Let's drink
Okay.
this Berliner Weiss. So tell me what's in this one. Yes, we're drinking a Berliner Weiss, you
We love
guys.
Berliner Weiss. Cherry Berliner Weiss. It's Guy Fieri, and it's looks like Guy Fieri, but as a cherry for a head. And
I love that. This is a creative brewery.
right? Punch your ticket to Sourtown. This baby is a festival of flavor. Tart and sour cherries, wheat and pilsner malt, a bomb.com tangy kettle sour fermentation. Get your boring buds quenched.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot going on
Right?
there.
Yeah. So it doesn't really give like all it says is cherry. I actually kind of wish it was more cherry.
That's what I was gonna say too. Oh my goodness, we are just like on the same wavelength
Yeah, this
today,
is why
Lauren.
this is. Yeah, it's a little.
Plain.
Yeah, it's
For
not.
A
I was
sour Berliner
expecting
Weiss?
kind of like, not that I want like cherry at my face, but like more flavorful. It's very, very mellow. Like
Yeah.
not even in a, not that it's a bad taste. I just expected more flavor.
Yeah. I mean, I get a little more cherry in the aftertaste now that I've sat with it a minute and
It's got
haven't
that
taken
tart
another drink.
cherry to it. But I guess I expected more up front in the flavor.
Yeah. And it really doesn't smell like almost anything.
It really doesn't. It has very, very mild aroma to it. I'm very surprised at that.
I kind of thought I was going to get overwhelmed by this.
Yeah, I was fully expecting to be like, oh my gosh, cherries.
I was actually nervous about it when you were like, oh, this is a cherry Berliner Weiss. I had grabbed these cans. Like I said, my husband picked them up on his road trip. But when I grabbed it out of the fridge, I hadn't looked at it. It's been forever since I looked at these beers. And
you got the name wrong, but
yeah.
So you looked at it and were
So
like,
I looked at it and I was kind of like, okay, whatever. And I just grabbed this out.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was cherry. And then you observed that earlier, and I was kind of like, oh man, it's gonna be
I was
something.
I was expecting a much bolder cherry flavor to it. It's very mellow. I mean, I like the profile. Obviously I love a Berliner Weiss. But I just expected a little bit more flavor up front on this one.
Yeah.
Weird that there's like no aroma to it.
Yeah, right? I mean, I keep smelling it.
Like I wouldn't even know I was drinking beer from the smell.
It's
like
just like
very
like maybe a pinch sweet, a pinch of a sweet smell, and that's really kind of it.
But like it could be a cider, it could be it could be anything. Like this is not distinctive.
This could be a Sprite.
Yeah, I don't
like,
even know.
I mean, just from the smell.
It could be cranberry juice.
Yeah.
Like it has no. I'm very confused.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of weird because I really like the alt beer a lot.
I like the alt beer a lot.
Maybe it's just kind of weird and random. I will mention, I don't know how old this beer is. I mean, we waited a couple months to drink it. I know that.
Yeah, true.
But unless it's like
old,
6
right?
months plus old, I can't imagine it would fall off quite this much.
No.
I can't imagine it's way off.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. It doesn't have a bottled or a canned date, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways, well, I really like the alt beer. This isn't bad. It's just not super flavorful. It's not what I expected, but it's not a bad beer. It's just a mediocre beer in my book. So
I agree. Which, hey man, nobody bats 1,000. Yeah. And the alt beer was great.
Yeah, that was really good.
Actually do have a stout by them that my husband and I will definitely sample.
Nice.
And go from there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to continue drinking the rest of my alt beer here. And,
I will as well.
Yeah. So cool. I had never heard of Modern Methods before. Now I have. And if I ever go out that way, I'm going to check out some Giant Jumpsticks.
I was going to say, check out some Dave Grohl's hometown.
More beer. Yep, right? Exactly. So awesome. This was fun.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the latest musings from Parenting by the Pint.
Be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Have a great week, and cheers to you all.